not even half a woman," she said. I pushed my chair back and changed my plans. "My name is May. I count things people forget to count. Meals paid, favors owed, hours I gave when no one looked. I am 68, widow, bookkeeper, retired. The chorale dress still hangs by the door. I wore it once. I lost quiet last month. It slipped out with the mail. A niece moved in for a week. A week became rules. My rules went missing. The house is brick and stubborn. My husband left it to me in a simple will. I keep the will in a plastic sleeve. I keep the sleeve in a red binder. The binder lives on the second shelf, behind a cookbook no one opens. I keep more than papers. I keep a habit. I print things, receipts, emails, screenshots without the screen. People lie to faces. Paper lies less. The insult landed at my own table. She brought friends. They filmed a cooking live. I made soup. They made content. The chair scraped when I stood. It felt like a bell. I did not ring twice. She smiled at her phone. Comments rolled. I saw my kitchen reflected in the glass like a stage. Pressure works quiet at first. A package came in my name, not my order. Designer napkins, gold trim. The receipt said, "Thank you, May." The card inside said, "Hostess fee." I felt my name used like a coat hook. Then her boyfriend called me sweetheart and told me how bills work. He slid a breakdown across the table. I slid it back. I circled the math and wrote no. I kept his printout. I wrote the date on top. I have a small camera in the office. It is legal to protect a room I own. I learned to be precise. The lens faces the desk and the door, not the hallway, not the bedrooms. I taped a note under the mouse pad. "Breathe first." I taped another inside the drawer. "You are not begging." Beside it, a USB drive. On it, a folder. /invoices /boundaries. The live ended. The girls laughed in my sink. One broke a teacup and said it was old anyway. I picked up the handle like a tooth. I rinsed the shards. The boyfriend whispered, "We'll change the Wi-Fi. She won't notice." I noticed. I wrote the new password on a yellow sticky when he left it on the counter. I pressed it into my notebook and closed the cover. A notification blinked on my monitor. A new calendar invite. Title, House Meeting, Owners. Location, my dining room. Organizer, my niece. Guest list, not me. I clicked print. The printer hummed. The camera's tiny red light glowed in the frame. The front door opened before the page finished, and I heard a second voice I knew too well say, "Record this." I stood in the doorway with the paper still warm from the printer. The boyfriend said again, his phone already lifted. The word owners at the top of the invite blurred for a moment, not with tears, with a pulse. They called it a house meeting, my house. She sat at the head of the table like a host. Her friends arranged chairs, poured drinks into my glasses. One placed coasters as if polite. I stayed standing. The disrespect became a theater. They spoke over me. They laughed. My niece announced changes. Rent would be fair. Access would be shared. The yard would be used for events. She slid another document forward, a draft agreement. My name typed wrong. The word Maeve, not May. A stranger holding the deed. I looked down. Then I looked at the USB in my drawer. Plan pressed itself awake inside me. I did not shout. I said one word. Noted. Phones pointed, screens blinked. I let them capture my silence. Silence is louder when you choose it. She leaned close. "We'll help you. You're not even half a woman if you can't manage this house." The same line, sharper in her mouth this time. I turned away. I walked to the office. I heard laughter at my back. I sat. I opened the drawer. The sticky note reminded me, "You are not begging." I placed the USB into the port. A soft click. Files waited. Screenshots of every agreement, every text, every call log, every invite where I was missing from the list. Then, the yellow sticky with the Wi-Fi code. I entered it. Access returned. I opened her cloud folder. Shared, but sloppy. Photos saved twice. Notes half deleted. Among them, a message draft. Maeve will sign. She owes me. If not, we changed locks. I copied it. I printed it. The printer hummed steady, like a clock. The cameras caught the glow. Paper slid into the tray. Date stamped at the top. I heard the chair scrape again in the dining room. Not mine, hers. She'll fold, watch. I folded the letter once, twice. I slipped it into the binder behind the wheel. Then I whispered to the empty office. Now we start. The front door opened again. Another knock. Another guest. This one carried a black folder and a polite voice that asked, "Where is the owner?" I did not move. I let the voices in the dining room answer for me. The man with the black folder introduced himself. "Manager," he said. "Property services." He looked around the dining room as if it already belonged to someone else. My niece's voice lifted, confident. "I'm the contact. We're formalizing things." He nodded, wrote her name down. I watched from the hallway. I was invisible in my own house. That was the point. They wanted me unseen, erased. But the paper in my binder made me solid. The camera light made me witness. I stepped back into the office and opened the drawer again. Inside was the letter I had folded. The draft agreement still lay on the table outside. Wrong name printed bold. I opened my notebook. With a pen, I wrote one line under today's date. Not half a woman, not half a home. The chaos began with a phone. One of her friends took a call, hissed into the receiver, then handed it off. A bill unpaid, a service cut, electricity for the events they planned next weekend suddenly in question. Voices rose, fingers pointed. The boyfriend knocked on my office door without waiting. "We need the old bills," he said, louder than necessary. "Where do you keep them?" I looked at him once. Filed. He laughed, but the laugh cracked. "Well then, get them. We can't lose face." I turned back to my screen. I did not move. The manager grew uneasy. "We can't proceed without the registered owner present." He asked again, "Who holds the deed?" Silence spread. My niece's friends avoided his eyes. The boyfriend cleared his throat. "She's not well, confused." He gestured toward me as though I were a shadow. The manager's brow tightened. "I'll need to see documents." I closed the notebook. I rose. The chair legs scraped on the floor again, but this time it was my sound. I carried the red binder in both hands. I walked into the dining room. I set it down on the table. The plastic sleeve caught the light. The room hushed. Phones lowered. The manager opened the binder carefully. He read the will. He read the signature. He read the date. He looked up straight at me. "You are the owner?" I nodded once. "Yes." The boyfriend muttered, "Outdated, maybe. We'll contest." The manager cut him off. "This is valid unless proven otherwise in court. Until then, the matter is closed." The clock ticked. The air thinned. My niece's lips parted, but no words came. Her friends shifted in their seats. The camera in the office still glowed, recording sound that carried through the open door. A phone buzzed again. Another call. A louder one. A voice asking why the cammering order was suddenly canceled, why the deposit had been refunded, why the name on the account no longer matched. The chaos had only begun. The dining room filled with noise. Phones buzzing, screens lighting, my niece's smile cracked into pieces she couldn't hold together. Another friend whispered, "The florist canceled too." The boyfriend swore under his breath, pacing the floor. He typed fast, then faster, as if speed could mend contracts already undone. I sat at the far end of the table, binder closed. My hand rested on its cover. I did not raise my voice. I did not need to. Every few minutes, a new alert came in to replace the last. Refunds, orders reversed, invitations flagged as spam. Her voice pitched higher. "Who's doing this? Who called them?" I sipped water. The glass trembled slightly against my teeth, but not enough for her to see. Her eyes flicked to me, then away, as if afraid the truth would stick. One of the girls leaned over her phone and whispered, "Your name's not even on the contract with the hall." Silence thickened. Chairs creaked. The boyfriend slammed his fist on the table. "Fix it!" He turned to me again. "May, tell them you approved all this. It's easier." I folded the napkin on my lap, edge over edge. I didn't. The manager still stood, folder tucked under his arm. He was Cajun, but his eyes told the truth. This meeting was collapsing. Without valid authorization, nothing proceeds. Any funds moved may be reversed. A notification came louder from a speakerphone left open. A recorded voice read an email aloud. "Dear client, your request to change ownership on the account has been denied." The room froze. My niece's face drained white. She lunged for the phone. "End it! End the call!" But the voice finished the line. "Reason, documentation inconsistent with registered owner, May." She ended it with a stab of her finger, but the sound lingered in the air. Another cliff rose. A friend scrolled her feed, gasped, then showed the screen to the others. A clip from the live cooking scream earlier. My niece's own words replayed. "She's not even half a woman." Laughter followed. The clip already had comments below. "Cruel. Ungrateful. Is that your aunt?" Their own words had turned against them. Proof did not need my voice. It had theirs. The boyfriend tried to grab my binder. His hand moved fast, but mine moved first. I slid it back to my chest. No. He froze at that word, not because it was loud, because it was final. The manager adjusted his folder. He spoke low, clear. "If you proceed without her, you risk more than embarrassment. You risk charges." The word charges hung like a weight no one wanted to hold. The cliff edge widened. They stood on it. I watched. The dining room shrank under silence. Only the ticking clock dared move. A knock rattled the front door. No one rushed to open it. The boyfriend finally stumped forward, muttering. He pulled the door wide. 2 men stood outside. Suits. Badges. Calm voices. "Bank verification," one said. They stepped in without waiting for welcome. My niece straightened, smoothed her blouse. "We already—" But the taller man raised his hand. "We'll speak with the registered owner only." All eyes turned toward me. I set the binder on the table, slowly opened it. The plastic sleeve reflected the ceiling light. The men bent, read, nodded. Then they looked at her. "Your name is absent here. Why did you submit forms requesting account control?" Her lips trembled. "It was a mistake." The boyfriend cut in. "She meant well. This house is—" "Quiet," one officer said, sharp but measured. They laid a printout on the table. Her emails. My niece's words begging for expedited transfer, hinting at elderly confusion. I had copies already. Mine bore dates, their copies bore headers. Together, they were iron. She reached for the papers. They slid them out of her grasp. One officer read a line aloud. "She won't resist. She doesn't know her rights." The words dropped heavy into the air. No one laughed. The manager shifted uneasily. He had seen enough. He packed his folder, nodded once to me, and left. The others sat frozen. Their phones buzzed again. Screens lit their faces pale. One friend whispered, "It's on social already." Another showed her screen. The clip of the insult had tripled in views. Comments poured in. "Cruel niece." "Exploit." "Shameful." The tide had turned. Public now. No hiding. One officer asked me, "Do you wish to press further today?" I met his eyes. My hand stayed on the binder. "Not today," I said. He nodded. "Then we'll leave notes. For record." They packed up, professional. Calm. The boyfriend's jaw clenched until it clicked. The door closed behind them. The house sighed, and I was still standing. The air thinned after the door closed. No badges, no suits, just us. My niece sat slumped in her chair, phone clutched like a lifeline gone dead. Her friends whispered about rides home, excuses lined up like shoes by the door. I pushed the binder aside. I folded my hands on the table. "My house," I said. The words were steady, not loud, but they filled every corner. The boyfriend leaned forward. "You could have handled this quietly. Why drag it out?" I looked at him once. "I didn't drag anything. You did." He leaned back, face flushed, jaw tight. He had no next line. My niece finally spoke. "We just wanted—" I cut her off. "Ask, not assume." Her mouth closed, her eyes wet. I leaned closer. "You treat me like staff. I am not staff. You treat me like a guest. I am not a guest. I am the owner, and I can say no." Silence answered. Chairs creaked under weight no one wanted. Her friends checked their phones again, murmuring about comments, about reputations. One slipped out the back door. Another followed. The room thinned. She whispered, "So what now?" I stood. I picked up the broken teacup handle from the counter. I set it in front of her. "You fix what you broke. That's what now." Her eyes followed the shard as if it were a verdict. The boyfriend cursed under his breath. "Let's go." He yanked his jacket from the chair. He stormed out, door slamming. The sound rattled the picture frames. She stayed seated, shoulders small, phone silent now. She tried again. "Can I?" "You can ask. You can always ask." The clock struck. The house was quiet again. But this time, it was mine. The quiet held like a blanket, not heavy, not sharp, just mine again. She sat there, shoulders curled, eyes lowered. No friends left, no audience, just the two of us and the clock. I poured tea into the one cup unbroken. The steam rose steady. I set it in front of her. "Drink," I said. Her hands shook. She held it anyway. She whispered, "I thought I was helping." I shook my head. "You were taking. Helping asks first." Her throat worked as she swallowed. The tea cooled between us. I opened my notebook. I tapped the page. Words written days ago. "Breathe first." I let her read it. She blinked. tears gathering. I didn't know you kept notes. I keep what matters, I said. Paper doesn't forget. Neither do I. She set the cup down. Can I stay? You can visit, I said. You can knock. You can call. I folded the notebook shut, but you cannot assume. Not again. The room breathed with us. The walls did not lean. The house stood where it had always stood, solid, waiting. She nodded. Just once. No promises, no speeches. Just a small nod that might be a start. I walked her to the door. The night air touched cool on my face. She stepped out, slow, eyes red. She whispered, "I'll ask next time." I said nothing. The door closed. I stood alone in the quiet, binder safe, house steady. Not half a woman, whole. The house rested with me. No voices in the kitchen, no screens flashing, just the hum of the fridge and the tick of the clock. I walked back to the office. The red light on the camera still glowed. I reached behind the frame and switched it off. I saved the files to a second drive, slid it into the binder between pages already full of proof. Then I closed it, firm, final. On the desk lay a book I had not opened in years, a travel guide. Italy on the cover, faded from sun. My husband and I once planned to go. We never made it. I opened to a marked page, Florence, a bridge with gold shops. His handwriting in the margin. One day. I took a pen, wrote under his words, soon. For the first time in months, the thought did not feel like fantasy. It felt like a step. I sat with my notebook. I made a new list. Not bills, not proof, not debts. A foundation, small but mine. Scholarship, accounting for girls told they are not enough. The ink pressed hard into the page. My hand shook, but the words stayed. I brewed one last cup of tea. The coral dress still hung by the door. I touched its sleeve, soft, waiting. I thought of wearing it again, but not for them. For me. For the trip. For the speech I would give when the foundation launched. I looked straight at the quiet camera, dark now, my voice steady in the still room. Not half, whole. And to whoever listens, wherever you are, share where you're watching from. Tell me if you've been told you are less.